Hello everyone, hope you're doing fine. This is Richard, as known as the Signalist, and I'll be your host for today. So feel free to ask anything in the comment section. I'll keep an eye on it. And today we are going to go over a Forex overview. We start with the DXY to feel the overall market. Let me share my screen real quick. Fantastic. Hope you're doing good, Brian and Gecko. Hope you're doing good. Let me share my screen. I guess this is it. So I guess now you are able to see the DXY screen, right? Which is like the trading view one. Let me know in the comments if you can see it and if everything is working properly. Okay, I'll keep an eye on the comments, so feel free to ask any questions regarding Forex. Of course, like it should be related to Forex because last week we did a crypto overview. This week it's a Forex overview. Of course, like whatever you want, Forex, indices, and so on. Okay, we've got many comments already. Hello, Benjilo. Hope you're doing good. And we've got Angel Eyes. Hope you're doing good. Gecko, Brian, and so on. So feel free to ask any questions in the comments. Fantastic, Commander. You're more than welcome. And we've got, of course, I added, as you can see on my screen. Let me check it out. Here we go. I've got added US100. So it's already on my list. We'll go over it. We'll start with the XY, then we'll go over EUR/USD, and you can see the whole list. So I try to cover them all. If you would like a specific instrument, feel free to request it in the comment section, and I would be happy to do it. Hello, Douglas. Hope you're doing good. So let's get started, and here we go. You can see my screen, right? Let me know in the comments if you can see it clearly, because like I'm still new using the software here. So let me check the comments if you guys can see it. Meanwhile, and let's get started as usual. Cheers. Okay, so we've got a request, US30, fantastic, and gold. Okay, let me add them quick, but let me know if you can see my screen. You didn't let me know yet. So US30, right? And gold. I'll just add them. Hope the list doesn't go like that big, because like I would like to take my time and go over the screen in a very go over the analysis in a very detailed way. Fantastic, you can see the screen. So let's get started. And first of all, I like to start with the DXY, just like if you watched last week's stream for crypto. I like to start with total market cap to get a feeling about the overall market. For Forex, I always start with the DXY to get a feeling about the overall currency market or Forex pairs. Okay, it's very important to know where you currently are. And you can clearly see that the XY or the USD index has been very strong lately. We've got a whole bullish trend. So big impulse movements pushing price higher, small corrections, big impulse, small correction. We are currently in this big impulse movement. So we are clearly overall bullish. However, we are currently sitting around a very strong resistance area. Not only a resistance, we can see previously it has been acting as resistance here, price broke upward. It's now acting as support, resistance again, and we've got this like sudden movement upward and downward, and price closed below it again. And since price is currently approaching it from the lower side, it's currently acting as a resistance area. That's why we'll be looking for sell setups, unless of course price breaks it upward like this with many big bullish candles just like these two here. Then our resistance would become support again and can reject the price upward. However, we can clearly see that the XY is clearly now overbought, right, after this big impulse movement upward. So it's currently trading inside this giant symmetrical triangle. So we've got this impulse here, this impulse, right? So here we go, and we are currently in this one. So we might see a bearish movement from here because we've got what? A resistance, and this is also a supply zone, as we had an aggressive movement down from it. So not only a resistance, not only 100 round number supply, there are 3 rejections. That's why it's a very strong area that we might see a rejection from it. unless of course we have a break above it, then a movement till our next rejection, which would be here, the upper brown trend line acting as a non-horizontal resistance, and this one acting as a non-horizontal support. This movement would be expected if we have this break. But let's take it step by step, right? Approaching or sitting around a resistance area, so we are currently speculating or expecting a bearish movement from here. Now, if you zoom into daily time frame, we can see that this bullish trend is engulfed by these two brown trend lines. This is our lower bound rejecting the price upward, and this is our upper bound rejecting it downward. And the price is currently not only sitting around the 100 resistance, supply, and so on, we also got this upper brown trend line acting as a non-horizontal resistance. That's why we are expecting a bearish movement from here, and this would be our next support area. In case we have this drop, then we'll be looking around this area for trend following bar setups, because we are obviously overall bullish from a medium-term perspective from daily time frame. Right, lately we've got a consolidation here, which we can see better from H4 time frame. Right, so we've got a rejection downward, upward multiple times. It's a horizontal range, then price broke it upward. So this is now acting as a potential medium-term support area, as it was broken upward. So previously we were looking for cells around here. If you zoom into H1, you look at how how detailed and how zoomed in from weekly, daily H4, and I'm also zooming into M30. This is very important to always start from the bigger picture and then zoom into lower time frames, of course. Okay. So from H1 time frame, we can see that price broke this one upward. It's now rejecting this support area, and it's currently trading inside this these two trend lines in red. Previously rejected the upper one, which is the intersection of the red trend line and the brown one. If we zoom into M30 time frame, sorry, we can see that we've got a double top pattern, and price broke the neckline downward. So now the bears took over from a short-term perspective, and we can expect a bearish movement from here. So now we were bullish from a short-term perspective, making higher highs and higher lows, right? So higher highs and higher lows, then price broke this channel and the double top pattern downward. So now we are technically bearish from a short-term perspective. So impulse broke below the previous low, correction, impulse, correction. We are currently in this correction movement. So we would be overall bearish now, rejected the upper trend line in brown and red, right? Traded lower. Now our next rejection zone or potential support area is around here. So price can still trade lower and lower to test this area. Now he will be looking for bar setups unless it's broken downward. Then we'll expect a long-term bearish movement, which we saw from weekly time frame. We can expect this movement till around next support area. So that's how you start from a zoomed up picture to really understand what's really happening and what you are looking for, because half of the work is done on higher time frames, on daily and weekly. Once you know where you are in the market, you know what you are looking for. Now, it's very simple for you to know what to look for, because you can't really know if you if you are looking for both buy setups and sell setups, you get lost. So you have to have a bias to know what you are looking for. What you are looking for, all you need to do on lower time frames is wait for a trigger, for extra confirmation. No matter if you are using, I don't know what, a strategy with indicators, moving average, RSI, and so on. I personally don't. So I personally only focus on the price action. So I always go for the classic patterns, a channel, a double top, and so on. Okay. So now we are overall bearish. You could have entered a sell here, and for the bull to take over or to look for buy setups, we need to see a break above this channel. Of course, we want the buy to get activated around the lower band. So now we know we are in the market. We are bearish on the XY, so we're expecting weakness on USD pairs, right? On USD, of course, and thus strength or a bullish movement on EUR USD. Anyway, we'll get into it in a bit, and you will notice a very similar opposite analysis on EUR USD, because the USD is on the right. So we got the euro, which is the base, and the USD is the quote. So you gotta get a very, very similar but in an opposite way scenario. I check the comments for now. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, fantastic, many comments. Oops, I'm sorry, like I kept the comment like all the time, and let me adjust my screen. Fantastic, so now it's looking better. And okay, I don't know what you really mean on YT live shared. Let me know like what you really mean. Good morning, Talal, hope you're doing good. James, SPY, of course, we'll go over SPY also. Okay, next one. Douglas, for sure, all the streams. I love the way comments appear in the streams. Everyone would love to see the name up, and sure, many are taking screenshots. I'm glad that you like it. Hello, Elephant. Hope you're doing good. Bearish divergence on stochastic valid. Okay, I personally don't use stochastic to spot divergence. I personally use MACD. So let me show you. So here we go. Let's give it a moment. That's it. So MACD is making lower highs, right? While the price was making higher highs. Okay, so we've got a lower high, a higher high, and a higher high here also, or like a double top, right? Equal highs and a lower high here. Okay, so yes, we also had a divergence previously. Okay, let me check the comments before I go. Okay, you are truly amazing. Let's like hope this like video gets more visitors to help this the stream or like this particular video or like Trading Nut channel in general. Don't forget to like this video if you didn't like it yet. Make sure to like smash it as hard as you can. And okay, let me delete the comments. Fantastic. Okay, so like it will help the video reach more users. Of course, if you find the material useful. Let me take a break. Okay, so let's continue. Let's go for Euro USD real quick, because like we covered already the XY, which is the exact opposite. So on Euro USD, if you noticed on like we got also a symmetrical triangle. On the XY, we have this shape. While on Euro USD, as you can see, we've got a very similar shape. On daily time frame, we've got a falling channel, right? On the XY, we've got a rising channel. Like I'm just showing you the correlation, how like alike these two look. Of course, in an opposite way. Okay, so this is it. On weekly time frame, we are around a demand zone, while on the XY we were around a supply zone, right? And we've got this lower trend line in brown. Price is currently sitting around it, acting as an horizontal support. We also got this support and resistance area. We can see many rejections from it. Was acting as support previously, broken downward, now resistance, support again, and now acting as support. So this area is indeed very strong, as because it is a support and resistance, a demand zone, aggressive movement output from here, and lower brown trend line, the exact opposite of what we saw on the XY. Now we are looking for buy setups. We don't buy blindly, no matter how strong a support is, no matter how confluences or how many clues we have. We don't buy blindly, because price can still break a support downward and trade higher, break it downward, and trade lower. Okay, so we don't buy blindly. We always look for extra confirmation where on lower time frames. So from weekly and daily, you only draw your rejection areas, then you zoom into lower time frames for extra confirmation. On daily, you get a clearer idea here that we've got our impulse, correction, impulse, and we are currently here. We are expecting a correction movement if you are trading inside this channel, and the lower bound, which is the lower orange trend line, also lower brown trend line, and so on, is acting as support area. That's why we are looking for buy setups in the first place, right? And as price approaches this area, we'll be looking for trend following sell setup. So I should put like this one around here, because it would be the intersection of the support broken downward, acting as a resistance now, and the upper orange trend line acting as a non-horizontal resistance. But anyway, let's take it step by step. Around the support, we are looking for buy setups. If you zoom into M30 time frame, we previously had an inverse head and shoulders pattern, right? And we've got the neckline broken upward. But let's focus on the current price action. Okay, so if we zoom out to H1 time frame, we can see that just like the XY, let me show you. Here we go, right? So this is the pattern, the exact opposite for EUR/USD, right? It's trading inside this pattern, and this is our neckline for M30. I don't want to see it here. Let me make it disappear from H1. Fantastic. So for now, we've got what? We've got a big inverse head and shoulders pattern forming. Let me show it to you in a cleaner manner. So here's our left shoulder, here's our head, right? So let me make a copy paste. That's it. And for now, we'll be waiting for the right shoulder to form because the head and shoulders is still forming. It's still an idea. Price, of course, can still trade higher and higher from here and invalidate it. Okay, so what I'll be waiting for is the right shoulder to form a little bit like bearish movement before we see a break upward. In this case, when this happens, we can enter a buy when we have a momentum candle close above it. And by momentum, I mean like a big candle, which means that the buyers are finally taking over. They are proving to us that they are strong enough to break above this entire range, right? And we can see the range even better from H4 time frame. So long story short, this is what we are waiting for, right shoulder to form, and then we'll be buying on break upward. For those who know me from trading view, I highlight this one as our trigger, like this. Here we go. And when the buy is activated, the stop loss would be where? Would be below the previous swing low, which would be where, in this case, would be below the right shoulder, because this is our last low. Of course, this is just an idea; it isn't formed yet. But like, since we don't really have a trade, we previously had one on M30, but like, unfortunately, like today, like I'm making the session today, right? So this is it, and we target at least a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio. It depends on your trading plan, but like, don't target less than 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio to have an edge over the market from a risk management perspective. Because like, after all, like we are not just traders, we are risk managers. We can't really know where the market would do, what the market would do next, where the market would go, right? Our only thing that we have control on is our risk, and our main job as traders is to find areas where we have an edge over the market. So the first edge is from a technical perspective, which is in this case around a support area, looking for buy setups, right? So that's why we are looking for buy setups. We're not looking for buys here because we are around a resistance area. So the odds are that price would go down. Of course, it can still break it upward, right? But like, we don't predict what might happen. We just wait for the price to approach a rejection, and then we look for setups around it. And around this area, like, we've got more odds that the price would go down than up. Of course, unless broken upward, then it will become a support, and we'll be looking for buy on the retest. Okay. But anyway, let's keep it simple. Around a support, looking for buy stops, waiting for this to happen, stop loss, take profit at least double, and this is it. Okay, of course, if price keeps moving downward, like we wouldn't have entered SL because we didn't have this break. If price keeps moving downward, then it will approach what? It will approach our lower trend line again from H1. If it goes like this, in this case, just like what we did here on M30, we looked for a head and shoulders pattern and we entered a bounce back upward. We'll do the exact same. We'll be looking for also new buy setups here at around the lower bound on lower time frames. But for now, I don't want to buy here because I've got a potential horizontal resistance, which is from a short-term perspective. So I want a break above it before I buy. Let me check the comments real quick and take a little break. Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, Khaled. Hope you're doing good. Also good, Johnny. Hope you're doing good. Fantastic, guys. I'm glad to see you here. Nigel, hope you're doing good. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section, and I would be happy to go over it. Okay. Since no major comments, let's move forward. Our next one is, let's see, AUD JPY. All right. So on AUD JPY, if you zoom out to weekly time frame, we always start from weekly, right? If you but like for now, like we will not go like and draw it exactly. Maybe if you want on the next stream, like I'll delete everything from the chart and we'll go over it and draw it like from scratch. It would be a good practical example. Okay, if you would like more examples like this where I do it from scratch, right? So you can check my YouTube channel, which is called, let me draw it to you here, which is called The Signalist, right? Here we go, and like when you go over this channel, you will find a whole series. Right? I got like 37 episodes on how to analyze any chart from scratch without using any indicators. Okay, so like check it out. I've got a whole series. So like every video is like around 30 minutes. So I've got like a 10 hours materials for free if you would like to check it out. But like for now, for this stream, because like I want to go for many pairs, so like this is why I already have my drawings. But like as usual, I like to keep it as educational and practical as possible. So from weekly time frame, we can see that AUD is currently trading inside this channel. We've got our first impulse, a correction, another impulse movement upward, right? So now it's approaching the upper band or the resistance area or the brown trend line, whatever you want to call it. That's why we are looking for sell setups. So we're expecting a correction. Of course, it's from weekly, right? But like a correction from weekly means like a whole downtrend. So it's okay if we look for sell setups around this area. Okay, so if you zoom out a little bit, we can see the blue resistance clearly. We've got a resistance here, a rejection here, and so on. And even if you didn't have this one horizontal one in blue, we already have our upper trend line in brown, right? So the brown channel is engulfing the overall movement. That's how you feel the overall movement from a higher time frame. And of course, now we zoom into lower time frames to look for sell setups because price can still predict it upward. Okay, so like it's just having a trend line, that doesn't guarantee or like doesn't give you an edge that you might have a reversal. Just a potential rejection area. Price can still like trade higher and so on. And this is our previous support, which is around here. When price trades lower, we'll be looking for buy setups. As you can see, it's a very strong one, was acting as support previously, broken downward, acting as a resistance, multiple times rejected it downward, and finally price broke it upward. But long story short, right, let's take it step by step. Approaching a resistance area while looking for sell. If price goes down, we'll be looking for buy. Now, if you zoom into daily time frame, we can't really add much, right? So this is our big impulse movement. Now we're expecting a correction. And if you zoom into H4, we can't really add much also. But what we can see from H4 time frame is that the bulls aren't strong enough as they were before, right? So we've got this big impulse, an even bigger and steep impulse, and look at how small these impulse movements are. So if you compare this big impulse, right? If you compare this one to these two, like you can see how flat this one is compared to this one, and how small these two are compared to this, right? Which means that the buyers aren't strong enough or like aren't strong as before to push the price higher. So we didn't have like a big impulse and then a bigger impulse. We have an impulse and then a smaller impulse and then a flat impulse, right? Which means that we might have a potential reversal, which happens to be around a resistance area, right? So now we can see that we got a potential shift in momentum because we can like we don't really need to draw anything, but like if you draw a line to like follow the current price action, you can see that it was trading higher like this, and lately it's like going flat. So which means that we might see this a shift in momentum. Now, if you zoom into H1 time frame, we can see that we can draw this channel now, which is engulfing the latest price action, which is this rising range, and we can also draw this trend line here. Here we go, right? And I'll make this one in orange. Okay. So this is basically it, and like as per my trading style, I'll be waiting for a new swing low to form around the lower trend line in red to consider it valid. For those who know me, I always also highlight it like this as my trigger. What is it? Here we go. So as our trigger, this is it. And when the sell is activated, just like EUR/USD, the stop loss would be just above the previous swing high in this case, because EUR/USD was a buy below the previous swing low, and we target a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio at least. It depends on the trading style, but like 1 to 2 risk reward ratio is good, because like you already have an edge. So like from 10 trades, if you win 5 and you lose 5, right? So like if you enter with 1% risk per trade, now you are like losing minus 5 trades, so minus 5%, and you are winning 5 trades, so plus what? Plus 10%, because when you win double of when you lose. So risking 1, winning 2. So when you lose 5 minus 5. When you win 5, you win 10%. So even with a 50% win rate only, you are doing fine on the long run. Okay, so this is it. Let me delete the drawings and check the comments before I go over the next one. Let me see. Okay, so Commander asked, does having a paid version of TradingView has any perks? Yes, anyway, you can check it. Check the paid packages. So we got Pro Plus, Premium, right? So it depends on what you really want. So like for the Premium and Pro, you got more data. For the back test, you'll be able to zoom into lower time frames, which is like for the back test means this one here for the bar replay feature. You can zoom into lower time frames, while for the free one you can't really zoom in much. And of course, like as you can see, like we don't have ads. Like if you have a free one, you always get ads here. And it depends. Yes, and like one more thing, like for the alerts, you can add, like for the Pro, I guess you can add 10 or 20 Pro. I'm not really sure what. Okay, and like for the Premium one, you can add as many alerts as you want, right? So like I guess like you can add like 400 or 500 alerts at the same time, right? So like you can add as many as you want. So it depends on you on what you really need, and like you decide if you want to go for the Pro Plus, Premium, and so on. Okay, let me check the comments again. Please analyze gold. Yes, okay, I've added gold to the watch list, which is around, what is it? Here we go. You know what? I'll go over it now. We did 80 JPY, yes. So we'll go over it now since many members asked about it. Okay, let's check. Which strategy do you use? Smart money, I don't personally use smart money. You can use it. It's a good strategy if you like it, if you find yourself like following it. Okay, I only go for patterns, market structure, like basic classic patterns, and you can clearly see my style from the video, right? So starting from weekly and daily time frame for over direction, draw trend lines, supply and demand zones, supply and resistance, then you zoom into lower time frames for the triggers. Okay, you can get an idea about like my style from this stream alone. Okay, how many pairs do you trade? Well, it depends on your trading style. It depends. Like if you zoom into lower time frames like M5 and 15, I personally don't. I personally stick to the M30 time frame and higher. And like of course, like it depends on how frequent like you get trades, right? So like if you get like 1 trade per day, of course you can't really analyze like 30 pairs or 100 pairs, right? So like the more like your strategy provides setups per day or per week, the less like pairs you would be able like to check out. Okay, I personally analyzed 28 pairs. Seems like you're not using any indicators at all. Yes, exactly. I don't use indicators. The only indicators I use are clearly these ones, HTL, which is these dots here and here. Okay, like and as you can see on the bottom of the video, you can check HTL website here, and you will get $100 discount if you would like to join us. So here we go. You can check it out. and then if you scroll down, you can find more info about it, how to use it, why do I use it. Okay, so like I personally made HTL, which is, as you can see, it starts with Rich, which is me, right? So I made it to help me make objective technical analysis. Okay, because like we all know that if you give two traders the same chart, you'll probably see different results, right? Because like everyone sees the chart differently, and this is the main problem, right? So that's why I made RHTL to like identify the objective swings, right? And this way I'll be like drawing rule-based support and resistance, trend lines, patterns, and so on, right? And yes, and you can see that at the bottom of the screen, I guess you can see it, that for you, if you use coupon trading nuts, you'll get $100 discount on the package. Okay, so this is it. And okay, let's go for gold now, since many members asked about it. Fantastic. Where is it? Let me take a little break. Cheers. So let's start from higher time frames as usual, from weekly time frame. Here we go. Okay, so gold is currently sitting around the 2K, which is a very strong round number, right? So previously the 1.7 has been holding the price up multiple times, many rejections from it. Then we had the 1760 and the 180, 850 or 1900. So this is a very strong area around here, which is actually a support, and you can clearly see that we are currently bullish. So as price approaches this area, we'll be looking for buy stops. We can see it even cleaner from daily time frame. So this is it. We are overall bullish, making higher lows and higher highs. As price approaches this area, we'll be looking for buy stops. Of course, it's an entire area, not a laser level. So like if you see me like drawing, or like on the chart, you see one level only. Like it's not a laser level. It's not a laser level. It's an entire area. But like for now here, for example, I drew the actual zone. Okay, but for this one, it's an entire area like this. Okay, for the price to break it downward, right, we need to break the entire area. So like a laser level is not the good way to like to approach support and resistance, because like one candle break below a random level, no matter how strong it is, right, that's not an indication that it's broken. So you need to see an aggressive break below this area for it to become a resistance, and so on. Anyway, let's focus on the chart now. So we've got the 2K, which is a very strong resistance area. Price tried to broke it previously, as you may already know, for fundamentals for the war, and then broke back below it in an aggressive manner. So it's technically now acting as a resistance area. We've got a supply zone also here. We can see it better from H4 time frame. So we've got an aggressive drop from here, and also of course an aggressive drop from here. So this is our first supply, our second supply here. Okay, and the 2K is like alone enough. It's a very strong one. Now if you zoom into lower time frames, we know that we were overall bullish, making higher highs and higher lows. Then price broke below the previous low. If you zoom into M30 time frame, we can see that here we go. We've got this channel, and this channel has been broken downward. So we are technically now overall bearish. Now, like if you saw this one previously, you could enter a sell here. The stop loss could be above this high, because this high is very like far from the current price. So for example, this one, and you target 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio. So we're expecting a bearish movement from now, and we can clearly see it, right? We can clearly see that we were overall bullish previously. Price broke below the previous low, so now we're expecting this movement like this. Okay, of course, if price retest this zone again, you can look for sell setups also, if you aren't holding the sell yet. And on higher time frames, on daily, what is it? Okay, let's wait for it. I don't know why my connection seems to be weak. If you can't hear me well, let me know in the comments, okay? Because I guess my connection has been weak. And for the next support area, as mentioned previously, would be around this area. So if price, if like this one keeps moving lower, then we'll be looking for bus stops starting from this area. Okay. So this is basically it. Of course, for the bulls to take over now, and like for a trend continuation to be expected, we need to see a break above the 2K again. then it would act as a support again and we'll be looking for buy on the retest. But we need an aggressive break, an aggressive break above it. Especially we need a break above it from weekly time frame, because from weekly we can see that this big candle like up and down like this week, which is the fundamental week due to war, resulted in a big wick from on the upper side, right, which is also this area out here. So price went up, rejected this one, which is around 2066, right, and then traded lower back below this area. So technically this is still acting as a rejection, as a resistance. Let me check the comments. Study error on HL. Yes, of course, like you wouldn't be able like to add on your chart, because I have to give you access, and to give you access you need to purchase it. Yes, I guess it's correct. You can purchase it from the website. Okay, so let's keep moving forward and let's go for the next one, which is CHF JPY. Okay, on CHF JPY, if you zoom out, we can see this massive bullish movement. We can notice this movement on almost all JPY pairs, because JPY has been very weak lately. That's why you see like all the crosses of JPY, because the JPY is always the quote. So you can see an aggressive movement upwards, right? So, but sooner or later, like the price would be overextended, which you can clearly see. Like this one can't trade like higher for forever, right? It can be for a long period of time, but like sooner or later we would have a reversal. So here we go, right? So let's see. For now, since it's approaching the supply zone, if you zoom in, we can see that we've got an aggressive movement downward. We also got this movement here. We also got this gap, which price already filled, right? So this is indeed a very strong area. We'll be looking for sell setups, of course, unless it's broken upward. So we'll be looking for sell setups, knowing that CHF JPY can sit a little bit higher before trading lower. Okay, we'll be looking for sell setups. Now if we zoom into daily time frame, let's wait for it. Okay, we know that we are overall bullish from daily, because we have been bullish, right, of this impulse movement upward. Some prices making higher highs and higher lows. We are currently after this aggressive movement. So most probably, and usually when you see this aggressive movement upward for prices going like this, and then it goes like this straight, and most probably you will also see an aggressive movement downward, just like the one we saw on gold. It was going upward, then we had this, and then this again. Okay, so we are looking for sell setups, of course. Looking, if price now dives lower, we will be looking for trend following buy setups around this lower trend line in brown, acting as a non-horizontal support. We also got a demand zone here, as we had an aggressive movement upward. Okay, but let's take it step by step. Approaching a big supply zone, so we are looking for sell setups. We always zoom into lower time frames and so on. Just like we saw on an AUD JPY, which is this one here, we saw that we had an aggressive movement upward and then price is going flat. All right, the exact same thing. We had an aggressive movement upward and price is now going flat. So that's why it means that the bulls aren't strong enough to push higher as they were pushing before. That's why we are looking for a potential reversal. This is just a potential reversal. Price can still trade, meanwhile, can still trade higher and higher before reversing. So no matter how strong a supply is, don't sell blindly. Don't try to pick the exact top and bottom, okay? Wait for the market to make the first move and then react accordingly. So now if you zoom into H1 time frame, we can see that we've got this channel, which we see like we saw a very similar one on AUD JPY. However, for this one, this channel is already valid, because we've got our first touch, which is this dot in blue, our second touch, here we go, and our third one here. Okay, so like this trend line is already valid now, and we'll be waiting for a break below it to enter our sell. Okay, so like this would be, what is it? Here we go. So this would be our trigger. Of course, when the sell is activated, the stop loss would be just above the previous swing high, which might be here, right? Because like it's still forming. So, and we target 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, which would be around this area. And if this sell is activated, then we can expect a reversal from bullish to bearish. We enter our sell. As price approaches this lower area here, which is also this demand, right? Around here, we'll be looking for trend following buy setups, because if you zoom out, we can see that price has been rejecting this trend line multiple times. Okay, of course, meanwhile, let me adjust these ones, these babies. Okay, here we go. So meanwhile, of course, price can still trade higher from here and form maybe a new swing low. In this case, we'll adjust our zone like this, and here we go, right? So you've got the idea. So this is it. Let me check the comments if you have any questions. Okay, fantastic. Let me know if you have any questions, if you can hear me well, if the screen, because I guess my connection is not stable. Okay, let's move forward and do one more before I check the comments again. Okay, so we have Euro CHF. Of course, we always start from weekly time frame. We are overall bearish, right? We've got this big impulse, correction, and big impulse again. So price rejected the lower band, which is this lower trend line in brown, and also we've got this support area traded higher. Now it's retesting what? It's retesting this resistance area, was acting as support previously here and here, and price broke it downward, so it's now acting as a resistance area. We also got, if you can see, this gap here. So price usually tend to reverse, fill the gap before trading lower again. Of course, this is just still a potential. We always zoom into lower time frames for extra confirmation and so on, unless we have an aggressive movement break or like a break from weekly above it, then it would become a support and we'll be looking for buy stops. It would be a trend following one, because we would have our impulse, correction, and we'll be looking for the second impulse movement upward. Next, when this happens, we'll be looking for sell around this area, because it is a non-horizontal resistance. Also have a supply, also have a support into a resistance. So like that's how you plan your trades, or what you are going to look at next from weekly and daily time frame. So like that's why you see my arrows here. I could also add another arrow here, and I usually add also this movement that if broken upward, I'd be looking for buys. But like but I wanted to make the chart clean. So like just from looking at the picture, right? Like I can truly know what do I do next when this happens. Okay, it's very important to always plan your charts and like plan your trades and be prepared for every single scenario. But let's keep it clean for now. Price is retesting this gap, resistance, and so on. We are looking for sell setups. If you zoom into daily time frame, let's wait for it. Okay, we've got this trend line here. Price rejected it 2 times previously, so now price is testing it. So we are looking also for sell. As mentioned previously, we've got our gap here, which is this one, because like price opened here and then closed here, right? Opened here, closed here, and then immediately from here dropped till here. Okay, so resulted in this gap, and price is currently filling the gap. It got filled once, twice, so maybe we'll get it filled like to the max till here before we drop lower, or it's already filled, right? And like now it's ready to trade higher. We can't really know. What we know is we are looking for sell setups now, unless it's broken upwards, okay? Which is the plan I showed you from weekly time frame. So long story short, we are looking for sell setups, okay? So this is what we need to know from daily and weekly, okay? Now, if you zoom into H1 time frame, we can see that the exact same scenario we saw previously on AUD, JPY, and so on. We're around a resistance, we are looking for sell setups, and we have a channel forming, so we're waiting for a new swing to form around it, like this, for example, or any bearish reversal setup. In this case, we'll be selling after a break below it. This would be our trigger. Here we go. And when the sell is activated, the stop loss would be above the previous swing high, and we target a 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio at least, and so on. Okay, so this is it. And let's save. I'll check the comments one more time. Okay, cheers. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, let's do it. let's continue. And don't forget to like this video for it to reach as many traders as possible. Of course, if you believe the content is useful. So GPCHF, as you noticed, I've added like the JPY. I added this one because like you requested it. So I added like the JPY pairs next to each other. Then I've added CHF, JPY, and Euro CHF, right? So CHF, and now I go over two more CHF. Then added two NZD pairs. Okay, so that's how like I usually like plan my watch list. This is how you can feel the overall market more, right? So you go over the JPY pairs, then you go over the CHF ones, and so on. You've got the idea, right? So on GBP CHF, we know that we are overall bearish, making low lows and lower highs. So this is it, low lows and lower highs, and our orange trend line is engulfing the overall movement downwards. Okay, so which I call the outer trend line, which showing us the overall direction. Okay, and price is currently retesting it, and when price usually retested, just like previously, so we have this trend line from here, right? Price retested it and traded lower, so price is also retesting it now, so I'm expecting this movement, unless of course we have an aggressive breakup over it, then it would become a support, and this trend line would no longer be holding the price down. Moreover, we've got a very strong area. We can see many rejections from it as support previously, then price broke it downward, resistance, resistance again, right? And if you zoom a little bit, and you can see that we've got what? An aggressive movement downward from here. So this is also a supply. So long story short, from daily, what you know about the market, about GBP is that we are bearish. We have a correction now, correction previously, correction, and we are looking for a trend following sell setup. Only we are looking for sell setups unless we have an aggressive break above it. But for now, we are looking for sell setups. Now, if we zoom into M30 time frame, okay, we can see that we are now overall bullish and we are looking for sell. So as per my trading plan, again and again, I'll be waiting for a new swing low to form around the lower trend line, or we might also have a, here we go, we might also have a head and shoulders pattern, so we can't really know, right? So we might have like this, it's like this, and here we go. So it would be a head and shoulders pattern, okay, and or we might have like this, and here we go. Okay, so it's like for those who are watching the stream, not know exactly what we are looking for. That's how I like to make it as practical as possible. So we've got many possible scenarios. We are looking for sell. Let's see which bearish reversal setup we will get. Of course, meanwhile, until any, for now, this is our last low, right? So for the bears to take over, we need to see a break below it. Meanwhile, we can still trade higher and higher and dive inside this resistance and test this trend line before we trade lower. Okay, so waiting for one of these two possible scenarios, which I mentioned previously, a head and shoulders pattern and break below this one, or like for a new swing low to form around it, and then we can sell on spec upward. As usual, the stop loss would be above the previous swing high, which we can't really know if you enter here or here, right? So I will not draw it for now. So this is it for GBP CHF. Okay, so previously we're bullish here, broke below the previous low, traded lower, bearish, above the previous high, traded higher, and so on. Okay, let's go to CAD CHF, because now we are going over the CHF ones. Euro CHF, GBP CHF, and now we've got CAD. On CAD CHF, if you go to weekly time frame, we've got this resistance area here, which is very, very strong, and we've got also a supply zone here, as we had an aggressive movement down from it, right? And previously we had this resistance area that price broke upward. So I was looking previously for sell around here, because we've got this channel and price is approaching a horizontal resistance and a non-horizontal one. So but like price, that's why I always say we are looking for sell setups. Price kept moving higher and broke it upward. Now it's approaching our next resistance. So like previously I had this one here, which didn't happen. So and now I made it here, and we are looking for sell again, because we are around this area. Here we go, we had this channel and we were looking for sell, and here we go. So for now we are trading inside this channel in orange, impulse, correction, impulse again, So now we might have this correction, then impulse. So on this correction, we'll be looking for buy here on lower time frames. Okay, unless of course it's broken downward, then we'll be looking for sell here. Okay, so like this is our plan. Okay, so if you would like, I'll draw it. I'll be looking for sell now, then I'll be looking for buy. I'll make it in blue really quick, and then unless this happens, then I'll be looking for sell here. Okay, but let's keep it like this for now. Let's make it appear only on H4. I don't want to see it on H1. Okay, so now, long story short, approaching a resistance, the upper bound, upper trend line in orange, we're looking for sell setups. Let's zoom in. Here we go. Right, so we have this channel also, just like the one we saw on Euro CHF and GBP CHF. That's why I like to put them next to each other. We'll be waiting for this to happen, and then we'll be selling on its break upward. Of course, if this happens, like price can always trade higher, like invalidate the whole setup, or trade lower like this, invalidate the setup. If this happens, this is not a prediction that I'm predicting that this will happen. This is what I would like to see, so that the rules as per my trading plan would be met, and then I will sell. Okay, so here we go. Waiting for this trigger. Stop loss would be above the previous swing high, and so on. Okay, and the take profit would be around this lower bound. So it might be like this. Stop loss here. 2 to EUR, which would be around the support area where we'll be looking for sell. So for buy setup. Sorry. Okay, let me know if you have any questions in the comment section. Okay, so let me check. Hello, mate. Hope you're doing good. Good to be here again. What did I miss? Okay, so like don't worry. Like you will be able to watch the stream like when it's done. Hopefully, like we'll to like be done in around, I don't know, like 20-30 minutes. It depends on how many charts I will go on. So don't worry. You will not miss anything. Next, we've got. Hello, dear. Hope you're doing good. You rock, man. Thanks for doing this. You are more than welcome. I'm happy to see you here to this time too. If you have any questions, any suggestions, any pairs, let me know in the comments, and I will be happy to go over it. Okay, and cheers, mate. So let's move forward to be able to analyze as many as possible, right? Next, we've got NZD CAD. Like we don't really have an opportunity here, but like I liked to add it, right? Because like I only added the ones because I don't want like to analyze all the 28, because like it would take us 3-4 hours, like especially if I'm going to do it like as detailed as usual, right? So like I only picked the ones which are forming a setup or anything. But like I picked this one because it's not forming any setups, which is a good example that sometimes no trade is also a trade. So we always wait for the rejection area. Okay, if we go zoom in a little bit, we can see that these are our rejection zones. Resistance here, support here, right? Support here. Here we go, multiple times. Resistance previously, support here, resistance here, and so on. Okay, so next, we've got this overall movement, which is visible even better from weekly time frame. Let me show it to you. Here we go. We are bearish, impulse, correction. We are currently in this impulse. Right. So now, as you can see, AUD CAD is sitting in the middle of nowhere. It's not here. It's not here. Okay. That's why I'm not interested in looking for setups around this area. Okay. That's why you see it in green, because like I'm not looking for setups here. If you see it on red, then now I'm looking for setups. Okay. So on weekly time frame, on daily, if you zoom a little bit, we can see it even better. It's now approaching this demand zone and the support area. We can still drop a little bit lower, but for now, from here, like I don't want to buy here because it would be in the middle, and in the middle I don't have an edge, right? So here I don't have an edge. I don't want to buy. I would have an edge here to look for sell, here to look for sell, here previously I was looking for buy. Okay, here to look for buy, but here I don't want to look for anything, not sell, not buy. I'll be waiting for price to retest the resistance area to look for sell setups. Yes, I'm waiting for it to approach the support area then be looking for buy. And like usually I always add these arrows that I'm waiting for this to buy, waiting for this to look for sells. Okay, if you zoom into H4 time frame, you can see that previously we had a big head and shoulders pattern, which is clearly here. Okay, got our head, left shoulder, and the right shoulder. The price broke the neckline, which is in green, and traded lower. So we are technically now overall bearish. And as price approaches more this lower area, which we saw from daily, a demand and a support, I'll be looking for buys. Or if price approaches this area, I'll be looking for sell. Now, if you zoom into lower time frames, I can maybe draw a channel and so on, right? But like I'm not interested in this one for now because I don't want to buy here. Right? I don't want to buy in the middle. If we zoom out, we can see it even better. Here we go. Right, so this is our lower bound, upper bound, and I'll be buying here, which is exactly in the middle. I'm not interested in this, so I'll be waiting for this one. And like moreover, I'll also delete this one. I don't want to trade this channel. I'm waiting and waiting. Okay. Next, we've got AUD and ZD. Okay, fantastic. So like, as you can see, this one is in green because it's approaching this area. So like, now I should change it from green to red. Okay, here we go. Okay, fantastic. So on weekly time frame, you can see that AUD and ZD is respecting this channel, right? It's overall bearish, but it's like a little bit flat, right? So like it's stuck inside this whole range. We've got many supply and resistance, support here multiple times, a resistance here, as you can see, many rejections from it. So that's why we are looking for sell setups around this area. As you can see, we also got these two highs from weekly time frame forming a rejection area. Moreover, we have this trend line here, and here we go. Of course, the trend line is a zone, not a laser level, so you should treat it like this and like this, for example. Okay, so it's not like a laser level, it's just an overall movement for us to know where we are in the market. And clearly here we are around a resistance area, around the upper bound. So that's why we are looking for sell. Of course, price can still take it upward for it to become a support and trade higher to our next resistance where we'll be looking for sell. But for now, let's take it step by step. Around the resistance, we are looking for sell setups. If you zoom into lower time frames, you can see that we've got this channel forming on H4. We can see it even better from you can see it from H1 time frame, and price keeps on making higher lows, and higher highs, right? So not able to break below the previous low. So once a low is broken down, of course, like we need like extra confirmation, which is this resistance and so on. Once the low is broken down, then we can speculate that we might have a potential reversal. In this particular case, we might also have a head and shoulders pattern, right? So for this one on AD and ZD, I'll be waiting for example, for this. Maybe we'll have the right shoulder like this, and then we can sell on this breakdown, or we might have a movement like this, right, and then trade lower. In this case, this would become the last low that we need a break below before we enter a sell. But for now, since like price is here, we might not have this movement, but like we can't really know. But for now, I'll stick to this view here, right, and the stop loss would be, here we go, above like the last high. I'm not really sure what it would be. It can be here, or like I don't know where, but let's say it's here, and we target a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, and here we go. Let me check the comments if you guys have any questions. Okay, yes, sure, we will add US30. Mona, can we talk about gold? Yes, yeah, we previously talked about gold. So like if you would like, when we are done with the session, you can watch the recording, okay? Because like I want to save time for other pairs. Okay, Angels, no, you didn't miss you didn't miss US or NAS100. Don't worry. Like for now, I'm going over US30 and US100. Can you? Okay. Can you back on your prediction for EUR/USD, please? Okay, I'm not really sure what you mean. I started with EUR/USD at the beginning, so if you have a specific question about it, let me know. but like I'm not going to repeat it because I want to save time for other pairs. Okay. Okay, so for now, while you answer what do you really mean about it, let's go for, okay, so we went over gold. Let's put it here. We've got US 100 and US 30. So let's go over US 100 first, and let's do it. Okay, let me take a sip. Cheers. Okay, so on US 100, we were previously overall bullish, right? So this is from daily time frame, overall direction. We can check the weekly, but like we wouldn't be able to see much, right? Because like this one has been going higher and higher for a long period of time. So chances like we can't really find typical supply and resistance, right? So, but anyway, we can see that we've got this low here was acting as resistance, now acting as support, which is a very strong one. So to have a shift in momentum from a long-term perspective, we need to see a break below it. Okay, for now, this is just a deep correction, just like we saw previously, right? So lately, we are very bullish. The bulls are very strong. But if you check previously, we previously had many deep corrections. And if you have to check like the percentage of the drop, it's like 23%. You can check here, it's like 32% even, right? So from here, like again, it's like just 22%, which is like the same as this one. So this is just a deep correction, deeper than usual, and we will always have it, right? And price can't really like trade forever in the same direction. We are still overall bullish, right? And we've got the support and resistance area. It's also a demand here, and like here as well, since we had an aggressive movement upward from this area. Okay. Now, if you zoom into daily time frame, this is what we had previously. Previously, the bulls were very strong. We were looking for buy setups here, and so on, until eventually this channel can't hold forever. Right? Sooner or later, it would be broken. Then, as you can see, price failed to make a higher high, just like before, instead made a lower high, which is our first alert that we might have a shift in momentum. But of course, it's not enough because price can still trade like this, make lower highs, right, and then break it upward for another impulse movement. Okay, so that's why we always wait, right, and see like like who would take over next. Okay, it would be the buyers or the sellers. In this particular case, price broke below this low, which is this candle here, and below this channel. So for now, the bears clearly took over, and the bearish movements started. Okay, so this is what happened previously. And next, price rejected this demand area, which we saw from weekly, which is this one. Here we go, a demand area here, and which is also a support and resistance. We can see it very clearly. So traded higher. So for now, the buyers are trying, or like previously kicked in, but like they are now trying to kick in again to have another big impulse movement upward. Just like what happened previously, which is here, right? So deep correction. So we're trading inside this channel. The bears took over and the bulls kicked in again, right? So here we go. We had a channel here, just like the one we had here. Bears took over, and then we have a demand here, price reject and support, multiple rejection from it, and the bulls kick in again. So for now, this is what's happening. For the bulls who took over here, but now they are trying to kick in from a long-term perspective. So how do we know if they are trying to, if they are finally over? Okay, if you zoom in a little bit, we can see that we've got this rejection here, right? We've got a support, a resistance, and now acting as a resistance. So for the bulls to take over, and like you can see that the exact same shape on US 500 now, right? So for the bulls to take over, we need to see a break above it. A weekly candle close above it, like would mean that the bulls are now very strong and they are now ready for another impulse movement. It would mean that this is our impulse, right? And the next one will have a correction, just a correction, then we'll have a second impulse movement outward. Okay, but now let's take to the zoom in picture, right? So this is it. We had a bearish trend, impulse correction, and so on. Then the bulls took over by breaking above this high. Okay, so now from a medium-term perspective, from a long-term perspective, we know that we need a break above this high, Okay, from a medium-term perspective, which is from daily, we are now already bullish. Okay, so this is the zone from weekly, and this is now from daily. We are already bullish because we already had our impulse, which broke above the highs here. So this is a correction, and we might have the next impulse movement upward for the bulls to take over from a long-term perspective here. Okay, but however, we can't really know if it would end here. So impulse, correction, or the correction, can't really know where it might end. Of course, like you can take a Fibonacci and you can blah blah blah, right? So like if you check it out, like this is the C618, right? However, we can still trade a little bit lower to test this demand zone before we trade higher. So no matter if you have a Fibonacci golden ratio, a support, a supply, a demand, like no matter what, always zoom in and look for extra confirmation. So let's do just that. If we go into H1, here we go. Right, so we were bearish, right? We were bullish, the previous low broken downward, bearish, lower lows, lower highs, and so on. Now we have an inverse head and shoulders pattern forming. You can draw it like this if you want to see it even better. I don't know why I can't really make an offset. Okay, I don't know why. Okay, oops, we've got two now. Okay, so this is our head and shoulders pattern. For the bulls to take over, to prove our first scenario, which is just a correction and then another impulse movement upward, we need to see a break above this area. Okay. Meanwhile, we can still see what another bearish movement lower. So it would be just a deeper correction for this bearish trend. So bearish trend, deeper correction for the another impulse movement downward. So trading is reactive, not predictive. So if you have this, we might have this movement. If we would have this, a break below the previous low, or even this, right, then the bears would take over, which is what, if you zoom out to daily time frame again, which is, as mentioned previously, impulse, correction. If price breaks above the head and shoulders pattern, we might have the next impulse now to start. Or if the bears kick in here and like break this correction, then we might have one more leg down to test this demand, and then we'll be looking for buys. Okay, this is it. Okay, let's go over US30. I'm sorry about the noise here. And okay, so let's go for US30, and this would be it. We already went over like a lot today. If you have any questions, let me know. If you don't have any questions after US30, we will end the session now. Of course, after you are done with US30. Okay, so you can't really see much, right? We previously saw many bearish impulse movements, right? So, but the overall direction is clearly bullish. So we might see this. However, it's not that the bears aren't ready yet. We've got many projections from here, right? So like we can't really like speculate that this might happen unless we have a break below this area. Okay, so support multiple times, price rejected. As you can see, we didn't have a close below it, and then we had this aggressive movement upward. We might have one more magnet movement to fill this demand, yes, right, for the bulls to take over from a long-term perspective. This just like the same case that we saw on US100. If this weekly candle closes above this area, then the bulls will take over again, and we can expect a bullish movement. Our next rejection would be around the 37K, yes, which is clearly the all-time high. Okay, if we zoom into daily time frame, here we go. We can see that we were overall bullish, higher highs, higher lows, and now we had a deeper correction than usual. And the buyers kicked in again after breaking above this high and this high. So we are clearly now overall bullish. So we'll be looking for buy setups, and we can clearly see it here that here we go. You could look for buy stops here on the retest of this one, because we were bearish previously, right? And then price broke above the previous high, a classic retest of the previous high, broken upward, and then price traded again. So now for the bulls to remain in control, we need to see the next impulse movement, so impulse correction. So the next impulse movement should like keep pushing higher, which would mean a weekly candle close like this week would end by closing above this area. Then the bulls would prove they are now very strong to take over again from a long-term perspective. But this is a very important zone that might hold the price down. So from lower time frames, if let me go back. Here we go. So like this is the zone that we were looking for. This is from daily time frame, right? Which we saw previously broken upward on the retest of it. Here we go, and then traded higher again. So now we are clearly bullish. This is what is our demand, our supply. This is our supply zone from which we saw from daily and weekly time frame, right? So now as price approaches this area, we'll be looking for sell setups on lower time frames, and as price approaches this area again, which is also a demand here, we'll be looking for buy setups on lower time frames. For now, I can't really add much, right? Or we know that we are overall bullish from a short-term perspective and from a long-term perspective. Hey, fantastic. If you like the content so far, smash the like button to help the video reach more traders. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'll wait for 1 minute. If no new question pop up, I will close the stream, and this would be it. And I'll see you hopefully next time. Next time we'll cover crypto. So 1 week crypto, 1 week, 1 week forex, and like as you noticed, like I have a chart layout which is trading not forex for like these sessions, and I also have this like watch list which is also trading not forex. So like I wouldn't touch like the charts, like these particular ones. Okay, so like after 2 weeks we'll update the same charts. Of course, I'll be adding like new pairs if you would like, and the same goes for the crypto one. So like I will just shift from like this one to the thing not crypto, and the same goes for this list. So this way like we will learn in a good practice example. We'll be following up the same charts. Okay. Take a look at USD, AUD USD. So what do you mean by take a look? Okay. Here we go. On AUD USD, it's currently rejected this resistance area. For the bulls to take over, we need to see this. We need to see a break above it, and then we'll be looking for buy on the retest. For now, the bears are clearly in control after breaking below this low. Broke downward, rejected it, traded lower. So for now, we are looking for trend following sell setups, especially that we are sitting around a resistance area. So if you zoom in lower, let me see if we can add something else. Here we go. Sorry about that. So we are currently, as mentioned, overall bearish. We do have a double top pattern. But for the bears to take over, we need to see a break below it, right? In this case, you could enter a sell, or right, we also can see that we are still overall bullish here from a long-term perspective. So from a short-term perspective, we are bearish. However, this is a correction inside. Here we go, a correction inside this like giant rising broadening wedge. So for the bulls to take over here, we need to see a break above this area, which might also be an inverse head and shoulders pattern like this. So this would be our neckline and so on. Meanwhile, for the bears to take full control, we need to see a break below this area. Then we'll be looking for sell on the retest. So long story short, we are bearish from a short-term perspective, which is here inside this big bullish one. So we are looking for sell here, then we'll be looking for buy here, or it will be confirmed for the buyers to take over after a break above this area, unless the sellers may break below it. Okay. Awesome. Today was fast. Yes, like we spent like 1 hour and 50 minutes, so it's good. Okay, so like I'll go over like these two quick Euro GBP and JPY30. Like I don't have my like chart set up for JPY30, but like anyway, I'll check it out. But like this would be it. Okay, so Euro GBP real quick. Let me turn it off. And Angel Eyes, you're more than welcome. I'm very happy that you're enjoying these sessions. Let's go over Euro GBP and okay, fantastic. So on Euro GBP, it's currently sitting around the lower bound. As you can see, we are trading inside this channel, a falling one. We previously were looking for sells around here, for buys around here, and so on. And we are still looking for sell and buy until eventually this channel is broken upward. For now, price is around the lower band. So we'll be looking for buy setups. And as price approaches this area, we'll be looking for sell setups. If you zoom into H4, let me see if we can add anything. We can't really see much. If we go to H1, we can also, like, we can't really see much. On M30 previously, the buyers took over here after breaking above this support area. We were, sorry, let me go back to M30. We were bearish previously, now we are bullish, but we are looking for buy setups because we are now retesting this support area. So we might see, if this one goes lower now, we might see that we will get a new, here we go, for example, like this, a new trend line to form, if and only if we see this movement. Then we'll be waiting for this to happen, and then we can buy on its break upward like this, right? Well, of course it depends on your trading plan, but like, as for my trading plan, this is what I'll be personally waiting for. Okay, but like, I'll not draw it for now because like it's now too early, because this swing is still forming. But we are clearly overall bullish now, right? So this is our first impulse, a correction, a second impulse movement upward. So now on the retest of it, now are currently in this correction. So we are clearly looking for buy setups. We can also draw like a channel, like a trend line here, and this is it. Okay, so as price like go flat here, we might see any bullish reversal setup. You can look for buy on this range, breakout upward, just like this area here. Okay, breakout upward and trade it higher. Okay, on GER30, let me see if I have any drawings here. Okay, great. So I can see some lines, but like, I'm not really sure where what we'll get. Okay, so we'll get nothing, just this line. Okay, so it's fine. Okay. Fantastic. So what do we see as a whole range? Here we go. The whole range broken downward. We can see this area here, right? So like, we had like a giant head and shoulders pattern broken downward. If we zoom out to weekly time frame, let me see if we can see anything. Okay, we can't really see much. We can see the support area here. We've got many rejections from it. Okay, and now price traded lower and then breaks it upward aggressively higher. So what like, long story short, right? What we can see just from daily and weekly, we've got this resistance and we've got this support. The support is from a long-term perspective. This resistance is from a short-term perspective. So if you go to daily time frame again to see this area, for now, as price approaches this area, it's still acting as a resistance. So support previously broken downward, now acting as a resistance. So we'll be still looking for sell setups, right? Unless this one is finally broken upward, then we'll be looking for buy setups. So we want the buyers to prove to us they are strong enough to break back inside this range. Okay, or if we look for sell setup and price trades lower, we'll be looking for buy setups around here, which is this like support resistance, which we saw from weekly, and we also got this gap here, which is also a demand zone. So long story short, let me draw it for you. We'll be looking for sell here. We'll be looking for buy here, unless this area is broken upward, and we're looking for buy on the retest. For now, as price approaches this gray area, okay, so I can see the drawings now. Okay, where is it? Okay, so I can't see them on. Okay, fantastic. Give me a minute. I don't want to see this on lower time frames, only on daily. Okay, perfect. So this is it, right? So as price approaches this area, we'll be looking for sell setups. As for my trading plan, I can't really add much. This is because, like as mentioned on NZD CAD, it's currently sitting in the middle of nowhere, but now it's approaching this resistance, so we'll be looking for sell. So sometimes no trade is also a trade. It depends on your trading style, strategy, and so on. But always follow your trading plan and strategy, no matter what. Okay, so this is it. I can see that like we also got many requests like JPY and so on, but like the session already, like we've covered like 15 pairs. So I'll add JPY hopefully to my next list. Wishing you an amazing day ahead, and like feel free to like ask me anything. You can like find me on the website. If you go to richl.com, which is you see at the bottom of the screen, and you can join my Telegram channel, where you can ask me anything, or if you want, if you want my if you want my Telegram handle as this one, which is at, what is it, at rich, no, let me draw it like this, Rich the Signalist. Okay, so this is basically it. Okay, if you want to ask me anything on Instagram, feel free to check this one out. And this would be it. Have a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, and I see you hopefully next time. Bye bye.